So we are here at chapter 6. This is Daedalus Airfield, which features in this chapter. And to read you this chapter, we have Miss Hodgson, who is a science teacher. Enjoy.
Chapter 6. The Kindness of Beaky. Daedalus Airfield was a hive of activity. Flocks of new geezer airbirds came and went daily carrying messages about military plans and operations, and large squadrons of seagulls returned from bombing raids throughout Gosport and further afield. Geezer's advance was strong. 2 pair, I win, said Beaky, a gull bomber who was playing poker at a table just outside the North Blister hangar. Beaky, get your wings over here, you pigeon fancier, shouted Mandible, who disapproved of Beaky's opponent, a pigeon messenger from the RAF. Beaky hopped over to his comrade. What have we said about consorting? Yeah, but I win every time. Lieutenant Narraday wants someone to scout Grange Farm. I told him you would be the perfect candidate, said Mandible, knowing the assignment was boring, but that it would get Beaky out from under his feet. Yeah, I can do that. And what? Report back? Consult your manual, Beaky, said Mandible in a mocking tone. It's a scouting mission. Of course you report back, dopey. Yeah, I can do that. What am I looking for? Oh, just some flowers and dandelions. What do you think? Resistance, Beaky. Anything suspicious. Right, I'm on it. Without hesitation, Beaky ran to the edge of the runway and got himself into position for takeoff. He flapped his wings, ruffled his feathers in preparation, then stopped and cried out, What's the mission called? Mandible rolled his eyes. Call it what you want, he said. Operation Beaky Grange it is, then, said Beaky, feeling proud of his important assignment as he started down the runway and flew into the sky. He flew a short circuit of the airfield and dropped back down towards Mandible. How do I get there? What's it look like? Righto, ladies, said Lady Pride O'Brien to her assembled DI Institute. She was not about to let being in a geezer camp do away with their monthly meetings. Much to discuss, much to do. Now I propose a dance. Liven the place up a little. Mary Camper shook her head disapprovingly. I really feel that a dance in the camp would be most inappropriate, and I very much doubt in any case it would be approved, she said. Yes, but no harm in trying. Keep up the spirits, no? Well, I'm just pointing out it won't be approved. Mary, perhaps you can help in getting it approved then, said Lady Ellen with a sly smile. Mary simply turned her head and tutted in disgust at the suggestion. Just then the camp siren blurted out and geezer officers prepared to open the gates for the arrival of a truck, the kind commonly used for transporting large animals. More arrivals were entering the camp. Not pigs, surely, said Lady Ellen, wrinkling her nose. They watched the truck pull into the entrance, and then Jane Priddy jumped down from the cab of the vehicle and was greeted by some officers. She was shuffled into a side office. Was that Jane Priddy I just saw? Asked Mary. I believe it was, or someone awfully similar, said Lady Ellen. How on earth does she see over the steering wheel? She's so tiny. I think one of her badger workers does the driving. Just as their interest was sparked, Brigadier Brune came out from the crowd, gesturing with his walking stick and issuing orders to the camp. Line up, chappies. Parade in 2 minutes, I'm told, he barked. Be in your finest unruffled. Spick and span. Show 'em our best. The Brigadier had adapted well to life in camp, despite his age and frailty. It took him back to battles gone by, and despite being captive, he rather liked the regimental rules of the camp and was making the most of it. As the parade assembled in the square, geezer officers began inspecting the lines of prisoners. Jane appeared, standing next to an officer at the front. She stood with a clipboard and passed it to the officer, who began calling out identification numbers. As the numbers were called, officers grabbed each animal in turn, pulled them from the line, and began shackling their ankles together and marching them off in small groups towards the transport truck. Beaky flew above Browndown Camp to get his bearings. He could see the parade line of thousands of animals and those being loaded into the trucks. As instructed, he began flying almost back on himself, heading north to find Grange Farm. He followed the Alva River and circled the outbuildings and farmhouse of Grange Farm, then observed to the north of the site some smoke rising from trees. He could smell delicious apple dumplings and naturally flew closer. He spied a little village hidden under the canopy of trees. Only the smoke from a wood fire and the smell of food revealed its location. Beaky made his descent, circling as he did so. Although mindful of the fact he was on a scouting mission, his stomach had other ideas. He landed, haphazardly as usual, on a path to the east of the village. To the south, he could just make out the farmhouse roof of Grange Farm. He turned and began walking away from it, down the path, towards the smell of dumplings. As he wobbled down the path, his awkward webbed feet kicked up the dirt beneath him, conspicuous as ever. He had never been in the woods before. For a seagull's place, it's in the sky, along the coast, and not in the woodlands. He followed the winding path, which sloped, slightly leading down towards the thatched cottages. He could hear beautiful music, the sound of old penny whistles, light drums and bells. As he grew closer, a small hedgehog child, gathering some twigs in the distance, caught sight of the seagull walking towards him. He immediately dropped his twigs and scurried as fast as he could into the little village. The music stopped.